Hi, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home. This is my second video for the digital magazine, and we're going to go through doing a project. I'm going to try my best anyway. So, as usual, digital magazine, and we're here at issue 1. And there's the magazine, there's all your projects. You can download them in one go or one by one. It's up to you. Now we want to go over to the magazine, so you're going to press this button. Okay, I want to do the couple in love with the love heart. I really like this one, and I think it's a fairly simple one for a first project if you're not sure. So I've done the little square in the corner to bring it up bigger, and we're just going to look at the instructions. You can watch the video if you prefer. So I am coming down here and I am going to make it a little bit bigger and then lifting it so that we can look at the instructions. So first of all, it tells you to cut out Couple in Love 5, number 01 and 02, and they're the two parts of the main card. So one has a score line on it and one doesn't. So they're the first two parts that you have to cut out from the basic files. So I'm going to come back out of here and I'm going to go into the files. Now all my files are in one because I downloaded it. And then I downloaded the additional content and put this in here as well. So I've got everything I need. Now we are doing 05. So the first thing it says is cut out 01 and 02. So that's the front and the back of the card. And then we are moving to 03. So I just want to explain quickly. This 03 is not the Charisma file. It's if you want to use another paper. All these are for if you want to use different papers to what they've given you. So we're going to go in the Charisma files because we're going to do it using Charisma. I'm going to open this one because it's the more detailed one and I can show you properly. So this is the couple with the umbrella plus the decoupage to do the arm as an extra and the umbrella. They give you 4 to cut out so you're not wasting paper, and it's got a black line around it. And that's what's important for the Charisma on the scan and cut. So you print this out like normal, and then you put it on your cutting mat, scan it into your scan and cut, and then we go over to Workspace. Sorry, I didn't realise I hadn't cleared it off. And we are going to go to back to the main file, and we want number 5, and there's the Charisma. So I'll show you the Couple in Love, and you see it also has a box around it. So you are going to send them over. This is purely for Charisma. If you don't know how to send over to your machine from here, if you have Wi-Fi enabled, you click File, Export, I've got hidden objects, sorry about that, and transfer via the internet. If you are having to put it on a USB stick, it's still File and Export, and then you export FCM file, and you find your USB stick down here and put it on there before you go over. Okay, so we're going to do that with all 3 of the Charisma files. All 3 of them. When we, I better show you actually. When we're doing, I think it's this one. This is where you have to add your drawing file. They've got their own drawing file there. So that's the one that says Cherish Moments. And you have to place it over here. Or if you want to choose a different file to the one they've used, again, I've put my additionals into the same file. So I've got drawing files, and there's all of them for you to use. You can use whichever one you like. You don't have to use theirs. Oh, and also, I don't know why, I'm just going to group that. For some reason, although it says it's a drawing file, they haven't changed it to draw. So you have to change it over to draw before you send it over. You can't send it over and change it. If you have not got if you have not got Canvas Workspace, then you can add them. You print your stuff out and then you add these straight to your USB. Grab hold of it and move it over here to where it says USB. And that's what you would do. So if you haven't got Canvas Workspace, although I highly recommend you do, so say here, I would just move it over to there and it says copy. There you go. That's a card rather than a USB, but it's the same thing, it will still copy. So that is how you do all that. And if you want to print out all the parts and keep going back and having a look at the details, maybe we can, yeah, see, we can zoom in like that, have a look at the details and make sure you've cut everything out like they say. And then once you've cut it all, we'll go over to the craft table and I'll show you how to put it all together. Okay, and then we'll come back and do another one, but this time we won't do it exactly as they say. We're going to mix it up and add our own stuff. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so I'm over at the craft table. I've cut all my bits out. I've written my sentiment on there as well. I've done it exactly as it's done so that I could show you. And oh yeah, I managed to cut both hearts out of an A4 sheet just by turning them around like that, just as a heads up. Okay, so we need to have this folded, fold the lines, and then tape or glue, whatever you prefer. I always prefer wet glue. And definitely the Pinflair book binding glue. So you want to make sure it's together properly. There we go. So I've got all the bits here. This is the first layer, which I will do flat. I think I might do this layer flat as well to go with it, and then put the smaller one on pads. You know what it's like if you have to stamp a card lately. So just a couple of pads on there. I think that will do actually.
I'll use pads for layers, because, well, unless you're, you know, moving the layers. But to be honest, for things like this, I'd rather use my pin flare, because you can manipulate it a lot better. I know you've got to wait for it to dry and all that, but so I'm going to do it so their feet are standing on this little bit here. So it's a bit to the side, but I think I kind of like that. So it's much better to manipulate the paper and the way it sits if you're using pin flare, because you can do it at whatever level you like. So we know we need more in the middle, but if you want to glue it on the outside, you do a little bit there. If you're using pin flare, don't push it too hard. Sometimes it's easier to use, like I use my pokey tool a lot. People use scissors and things like that. So now I'm going to do bits either side like that, because there is a centre part that looks like it should really go in. So just a little bit there. And there, that's it, it's done. Hard work's done. Well, unless you want to put the ribbon. I really am against putting that big grey ribbon. I prefer smaller ribbons. But obviously it's up to you what you want to do. So yeah, would help if it stood up though, wouldn't it? Well, that's a problem. So what I would actually do, I know it looks a bit bad, but just cut the corner off and then it will stand up. Okay, so that's the first one. Now I want to show you one where you can mix it up and use all the different parts of the whole collection to make up your own one. But I'm going to do the box frame. I'm going to do the box frame. Okay, so I'll see you back over at the computer in a minute.
Okay, so we're back over at the computer, and rather than do another card, I thought we'd do one of the box frames. I really like that they've done an SVG for a box frame. That's such a cool idea. But first, just in case nobody's seen it, how to use the stencil SVG as an embossing folder. But it says to play, but there is no video on mine anyway. I don't know if that's just mine or everybody. So these three show you if you have a die cutting machine that you can emboss through, and these show you if you don't. So with a die cutting machine, if you cut two of the stencils out and stick them together, then you can put it through your die cutting machine. Let's get a bit closer. So you stick the stencils together when you cut two out. Do it as big as you like, and then you can run it through your die cutting machine and it'll emboss. Simple as that. If, however, you do not have a die cutting machine, if you cut one of the stencils out and another piece of card that matches the size, you then can stick the stencil onto the back of the card and it will look like it's embossed. I think with a die cutting machine is probably the better way. So I want to make one of these. I thought these are one of the brand new die collections, but I want to mix it up a bit. So I want to make this, but I want the princess and the prince on horse on the bottom of the frame. So this idea with not the corners, I don't want the corners on it because I want to put the princess and the prince at the bottom of the frame. So other than that, I'm not really doing a lot of different, except on the top of here, let me see if I can find them. There we go. Ooh. On the top, I want to do these stars on each top of the frame. So I am using bits from each one, but just to show you that it's easy enough that you can. So again, we'll follow the instructions. You're doing it the same way. So if there's anything that says charisma, you use the file next to it, not the file from the separate one. Yeah, so it'll be putting the frame together and then I'll show you how to make it again. So do the same thing, print out the charisma, cut it out on your scan and cut, and I'll see you over at the craft table.
Okay, so I've cut all the bits out. I've put on the video the bits that I did cut out from the various different projects. I've put the smaller frame together and stuck the card, the backing, on the back. And then all I'm going to do is show you how to build the frame in case you're a bit unsure. So you're going to cut 4 bits out. I've cut it out of normal black card because I wanted thick card and my printer will not take thick card. So I just cut it out of normal black card. You can do it out patterned as well if you wanted. But if you do the folds, and then it is easier to put it down and bring the last bit up to meet it, like that. That's a lot easier than trying to do it holding it or whatever. Normally I would use glue as well, but because I want to be quick for you guys, I'd normally put glue over the tape as well for extra grip. Okay, so you're folding it down so that this bit is resting on the last, the edge of this is resting on the last score line, like that. And then you're just pulling up that last bit to close it off, if the tape allows you. That's the easiest way I found. Let me know if you find an easier way. Now, they say lay it all out so you've got them all in the right place, like that. And then you're just going to start sticking. You just put glue in the square there because that's where the other one's going. So this bit, that bit, and the little corner there. It's still only the square bit, because then you put the straight edge in like that. Hold it for a second. There's no way you could do this with tape, I don't think, because you know, that tip about measuring it out on your board is a good one. Yeah, I don't think you could use tape, because it's just too difficult to get the other piece in without getting it stuck everywhere. So again, you've just done that bit there, and you're just going to stick the other end in. So then do it with the other two, and these I glued at the same time because it was easier. Trying to do one without doing the other on the last bit is a bit awkward. You kind of got to do both together. And then it says stick one on top of the other. I mean, you don't have to do the second bit of frame. If we just do this front bit, I'm going to obviously 3D the castles. Okay, so I preferred these star corners, so I'm going to put them on. Okay, so that's the main part without the frame behind it, how I've sort of pictured it. But they tell you to stick it on another frame and it will just make it more solid, so I'm going to do that. Now I'm lining it up by the mitered corners. So that's my finished design, and then you've got to add sparkle and glitz, haven't you? So maybe a few gems on there, maybe a tiny little gem as a necklace, and then maybe some glitter around here, I think. Okay, I hope this helped you do your projects and understand the magazine a bit more. Any questions, just message me and I'll help you as much as I can. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.